Shooter Breeze, topic number 1. Shout out to Trigger Happy 262 Plus out there in the chat. He's the only person I see speaking up in the chat tonight. So shout out to him. Shooter Breeze topic number 1 says, the programming of the black woman against her man by her mother was TV and movies, the molds that created the gender war since the 80s. This comes with a link. Let me share it with you guys. Okay. Let me share it with you guys. So it looks like an episode of, is that Sanford? Yeah, it looks like Sanford and Son. Let's watch it. Now, again, I didn't get good timestamps for this, so I'm gonna play as much of it as I can, and then we'll discuss it.
You mean give them both up?
What you need is a change. Forget about Wallace. Forget about Ray. Forget about Ray twice. Olivia comes first.
You're right. Now, why didn't I think about that before?
Look out for numero uno.
Now you're talking.
You need a break.
Broaden my horizon.
Spread your wings and fly.
Mama, you are so wonderful. You are so wise.
You need a new lease on life, a new world to conquer.
I need to go to Guam.
What did I say?
Anita, hey, it's Olivia. Look, I'll fill you in on the details tomorrow, but I want your old job. Yeah. Hey, I am Guamward bound. Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day, and I've got some great news.
Glenn already told us the news.
Well, then you must have a million questions. Just one. Where's Guam? Right there.
That's not a place, that's a dot.
That dot happens to be 35 miles long, and it is a tropical paradise.
And I hear it's so dull that one day the tide went out and never came back.
I can't go to the tropics. I drive like a prune.
Mama, you told me to look out for numero uno. I'm taking your advice.
Well, who told you to take it halfway around the world?
Anyway, you're not going.
What?
Look, Mama, it's not me. It's the Army. They only allow for dependent children. You can stay with Aunt Rilla.
Oh, I can drag myself down to the dump and die.
All right, I'm gonna end that there. I think that was only supposed to be like a minute long. Again, guys, put the timestamps. I can't figure this stuff out live on the air and all that kind of stuff. I think it was that first part. There was no timestamp given, so I think this was supposed to be a clip, and a clip is supposed to be like a minute long. But for whatever reason, how it posted up, it didn't seem to play the clip. So I'm not sure exactly. I think it's that first part, the advice from the mama to the daughter about, taking time for yourself. I think that's the part of it. Oni, what did you take from that clip? At least the first part of that clip.
Well, I don't know if that was Sanford and Son. I see Sanford and Son, but I don't know what show that was. But like, there's two parts to it. One, first off, this is a comedy. This is a comedy skit. Comedy skits have stupid storylines all the time. Two, and this is the more deep end part. Yeah, people who write the comedy skits might not have your best interests in mind. You know what I mean? Like they probably wouldn't recommend that for their own families. But as far as but like I'm not gonna hyper analyze some obscure, like this is not even Sanford and Son. This is not even like this was like I don't even know if this even aired. Like this might be the pilot, like it might not even be a show for real. But I think I know that lady from 227. I'm not sure though. The mother, the grandmother, or whatever, or the mother. But other than that, I mean, there's not much to like. I don't like. I wish we had a timestamp. But the programming of the black woman against her man by her mother. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like this is a reach. You know, this is y'all ever see Space Jam where Michael Jordan's trying to dunk and they all hold him back and then he just stretches his arm all the way? Like that's this. You know, that's just a big reach to find some obscure movie from the eight or some obscure TV show from the 80s and one line and be like, damn, you see how the black like nah, I'm sorry. Too much right there.
I will say, and shout out to Real Black Gentleman who's out there in the chat saying what's up to everyone. You know, the time it's unfortunate that the stamp didn't come through, which is now going to change the next topic because I don't have a timestamp for that either. And I think the next one is from Sanford and Son. But I think the general idea is that a lot of these tropes like feminism and whatnot is propagandized through media, through television shows. So I think that's what the poster was really trying to get at. Look at how this mother is telling her daughter, you know, forget about this man or at least don't concern yourself all the time with this man or whatever. I think that's what the poster is trying to get at. But unfortunately, I don't have the exact timestamp. But Buana, what say you to this?
Yeah, so there are several things happening here because I understand what it was trying to get at. I think that this example was just not the best example. So because what I would say is there was a movie called The Color Purple. The Color Purple was made well. Really, the Color Purple was a movie created off of a book by a feminist woman named Alice Walker. Alice Walker she was a lesbian. I think that she married a white lady or whatever. She had weird relationships, but she was a black lady, black intellectual lady, feminist, and she worked with Spielberg to create this movie called The Color Purple. Now that example really went universal. Actually, that movie went global, and in that movie, every man in that movie had no reparative value. All of them was most of the men, 90% of the men in that movie, in particular black men, were scumbags, right? So it it gave the idea and the philosophy of black girl magic, do for yourself, don't look for your don't look for your the black male to help, assist, or guide you. You all have to depend on yourselves for everything. And that message that was given by Alex Walker and the Jew, right, created this idea. Not only that, but there are also social welfare programs who was happening in America. No man in the house rule. All these things culminated in this idea of I don't need no man to do nothing for me. I have to worry about myself. What is interesting is this lady has two children. If you have two children, your life is not necessarily your own anymore. You can't say, I gotta do whatever I gotta do for myself." You have two children you brought into this planet, so your life is not necessarily no longer your own. Also, where's the dad? Where's the father? Where's the father? These are thought provoking ideas that enters the mind of the viewer because now all it is like we don't necessarily need a man. We could raise children on our own, and we could go off and have a vacation and meet. This whole idea is really breaking away from the formal family structure, conservative family structure that we was used to prior to the 80s. And you have to understand where these ideas came from. And these ideas came from women like Alice Walker, and when you dig a little bit deeper, women like Gloria Steinem and the feminist movement, what was happening in America, which really poisoned the well of the family structure, of the black family structure, not only in America, but really among the educated class of black women, because many of our women got caught up in this notion. They still have these ideas of girl, we don't need no. And then you see these weird things happening in the culture, where you see these 40 and 50-year-old women having babies now because they neglected the whole idea of family, prolonged that to have a life, quote unquote life, and they waited until they 50 and 40 to all of a sudden decide to become mothers. It's just really this. It's just like real reprobate nonsense, and it never got questioned. But now, what's entering the discussion is the ideas of why these things are not necessarily beneficial for our community. You can't live in a silo where you live outside the, outside the scope of your community and everyone else, and everything you just doing everything for yourself and yourself alone. That's not workable when you living in a context of your community should benefit from the things you actively do, not necessarily you by yourself all the time. You're not gonna go very far with that kind of philosophy and idea. You're not gonna go very far with that philosophy and idea. And I think that not only women like Alice Walker, but I think that people like Oprah Winfrey proliferated these kinds of ideas. You know, she was actually in The Color Purple, I think. So these kinds of wicked solutions and ideas, I think that they are have seen its zenith right now, but we see the pulling apart of our culture and family structure because of these ideas. It's gone too far. We need to go back to what we actually, the foundations, what we actually knew to get our society and our communities together. Because these things have proven themselves not to be workable. The female person, and I don't want to put this bag all on the female, and and I want the audience to hear me. But the female has been in charge of the so-called black family since the 80s, 70s to up until now. Has that been of benefit, great benefit to our community as we see it right now? Has that been of great benefit having a female as the head of the home? Has that been a great benefit? And that's the things that we should ask ourselves. This independency is nonsense. We don't have to answer to our black man, but I'll stop there and let the other brothers go, man.
While I was cooking them, and I like that. I just want all of us to be consistent with our thoughts on these types of things too. But I like what Juana was saying. Let's welcome in our brother Anthony McPhail this week. Anthony, we missed you last week. We saw you in the chat, but how are you this week?
I'm doing fine, Coco, man. Peace to all the brothers and sisters on the panel and in the chat, man. You know,
Yes,
I mean, yeah, when last week I lost my uncle, you know.
Oh man, condolences.
Oh, condolences, Anthony. Condolences, brother.
Thank you. You know, one of my uncles had passed.
Condolences.
So, you know, everybody was over there, you know, over there trying to console the family, you know. But yeah, that's what that was. But yeah, man.
man.
But I'm good though. I'm straight, man. I'm straight. This one right here, man. This really, Boiler took everything I wanted to say. He took everything. I was hoping he had missed out on that part about Glorious Style. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he took it. He hit it on the head, man. You know, and he hit it on the head. This definitely was something from the top down, man. In my opinion, this from the top down. You know, like if you remember Good Times, y'all remember the show Good Times?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah,
yes,
good
sir.
times. Yeah.
Good Times. Now, in Good Times, you know that old Jude, what's his name? I think it was Norman Lear. One of them, you know, he had he wanted to take the father out of that family. But Lady Miss Estelle, I can't think of her last name.
Esther.
But Esther Rowe, she said that she put her foot down and said, "No, if you do that, I ain't gonna do it. No, I'm not gonna play the role. You got to get somebody else to do it." You know, they wanted to take the father out of the role, you know, and make it that role, that typical, you know, that strong black woman thing. And when I say strong black woman, I'm not saying like in the positive way. I'm saying in that way that we're talking about. I don't need no man. I can do it all for myself. You know what I'm saying? But she put her foot down there and she said, "No, I'm gonna have in my family, it's gonna be a man, a father figure in the family." You know, and she put her foot in, and they gave in to it. You know, they kept James around until they finally had, you know, they counseled him because James, them, you know, got tired of all the cooning and stuff they were doing with the JJ character. But she, it's definitely, I think, cause see, when I grew up, man, I never heard nothing like that. I'm gonna tell you a story real quick if just bear with me just for a second. Okay, now I'm 56 years old. My mom, gave birth to me when she was like 18. She was 19. Now she wasn't married, and she had she was with a boyfriend. Well, the boyfriend, when she got pregnant, the boyfriend left. Now my father. Okay, the next time I seen him, I was 5 years old. The next time I seen him after that, I was 12 years old. The next time I seen him after that, I was 42 years old. And this brother lived right across town from me. And never one time did he even ever try to look for me. Now, of course I had a little resentment, everything. But one thing about it, my mom she always told me, she said, that's still your daddy. Regardless of him not being in your life like that. And she had every right to be like that. But she said, that's still your daddy. You know what? Whenever I got to I was going to talk bad about him, she said, don't do that. She told me not to do that. And my mom raised me, and I got 3 other brothers. You know what I'm saying? And she raised all us by ourselves. And my brothers, we had different fathers. They all had the same father, but I have my father. And and that relationship ended kind of bad too. He happened to be an abuser. But what I'm saying, anytime we ever, kind of got pissed off or mad at him, she said, that's your daddy. And she said, don't do that. Don't do that. And so I'm saying that what we seeing in the movies, like with Color Purple and all that stuff, man, I've never seen that growing up. I'm quite sure it happened somewhere, but I've never seen that. And my mama had all of the smoke, she had everything that could have made her go that way, but she didn't do it. But I'm saying, I think it's just it's a propaganda thing, man. It's a propaganda thing. Cause a division between black men and black women. Look at Gloria Steinem with that white family. That woman was an agent back from the CIA or somebody. You know what I'm saying? That was her job. That was part of her job. To create that division. With this, white women will respect you more than your black man. I don't want to go on too far, man. But yeah, that's how I feel about it, though, man. I think it's from the top, because growing up, I never did see that. I'm quite sure it happened somewhere, but I didn't see that, man. Like I say, my mom, she could have been one of those type, but she never was that type. And I'd knock off right there, man. I'm sorry going on too long.
Hey, Anthony, you ever ask when you became a man, right? You ever go into your partner and ask him, why you piss off and never really check until you ever ask him what's up?
Yep. All right. When I met him when I was 42, I had I met one of his brothers, one of my uncles. I met him, and I was talking to him, and I said, man, because I had been trying to get in contact with him, but at some point you like, well, man, if you don't want to see me, what I keep on spending my energy for? But I put that out there, and he went back and he talked to him, and he finally came to my house, man. And we set up, we talked, and we chopped, and we had a good conversation. There was no swinging. I wasn't pissed off at him because I was grown now. I'm grown. I'm doing good. It wasn't nothing for me to be upset about. I missed out on a lot of things and went through a lot of things. If he had been there, it would have been better. But at the same time, though, I wasn't mad, man. We shook hands. I embraced him. You know what I'm saying? And we left like that. But the sad thing about it, I ain't seen him since then.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You ever think that he probably was ashamed of himself?
It's that part too. But another part, what I left out, the woman that he married, after he broke up with my mom, he married this woman, and the sister was kind of crazy. She was like, "No, don't you go over there."
Okay. Okay.
So I had to throw that in right there. So yeah.
I understand that. Yeah.
So
yeah.
Thank you for that story, Anthony.
All right, I appreciate it.
But yeah, it's a top-down thing, like Anthony is saying, I think. And I've always said, I've long said, I wish I could be a fly on the wall in those meetings that these types of things lead to, right? Like the meetings that say, okay, well, we have to, I'd be curious how they talk about it. How they talk about we got to push a certain narrative, how we got to push this propaganda, how we got to indoctrinate through these shows. And I would like to see how they go about selecting these shows and stuff. It's just a curiosity I have.
Well, I wanted to add something a little quick. So one thing I did was I started reading some of this old socialist literature, right? And the thing is this, that they're not the only population, but the socialists are trying to destroy the monogamous family. You know, a part of their objective is to get rid of monogamous families and particularly, you know, have women and men go into what they call like free sex unions type thing, you know, like basically that kind of stuff, right? So, and they're not the only population, right? I think I'm going to try to have to disclose it, you know, a little later in a book or whatever. But the point is that there's a lot of people who are bent on destroying the monogamous family, right? The thing is this: suckers don't see it. Suckers don't peep game, and unfortunately, Black Americans, strapped for cash, are gonna be suckers. You know, they're going to be suckers, and you're gonna fall for it. You know, hook. 9 times out of 10, because people with more money are gonna say, you know what, we can use this for the propaganda because they don't get it. And then all you really got to think is, because right now what I'm doing is I'm trying to write a new ideology, like an ideology. But let's say you say to yourself, I don't write an ideology. What is the ideology of Black Americans? Like, what is the ideology? And for the most part, most of us will guess we're liberals, generally speaking. You know, some people might even say socially conservative, financially liberal, or something like that. I don't know what the word is, but you know what I'm saying, right? But the reality is this: as long as your ideology is from another people, right? As long as your ideology, because those things, conservative, liberal, those are white folks stuff, right? As long as your ideology is from another people, right? You can be penetrated by another people, no pun intended. And so this is what we see. You know, again, the socialists. You read Engels, okay? Engels is writing in 1870 something. He's writing in 1850 something. He's writing when African people were enslaved, in America. He's not thinking about you. He's saying, how can I destroy the monogamous family in Europe? Okay, he's not thinking about African Americans. He's like, how can I destroy the monogamous family in Europe? But you know damn well that today, in this day and age, you know that a good percentage of us are down for the socialists, down for the Marxists, down for the so on and so forth. Those socialists, those Marxists, what they want to do is destroy the monogamous family. If you don't believe me, pick up the book by Engels. I read it on freaking on Pro Black Perspective. But even so, you don't have to look to that. You could just go to Engels' work. I can't remember what it's called, like family type shit. Maybe I'll type it in the chat. But you just open it, you look to the chapter that says monogamous marriages, or the monogamous family, and you just read it, and you see, yes, he says it in blue and in black and white. He says it. Get rid of the monogamous family. And this is Engels, and this is Marx's right-hand man. I just want y'all to peep that. So it's not even about Black women. It's not even about the Black community. It's really about certain demographics, including socialists, not just limited to socialists, but certain demographics are about destroying the monogamous family. And you just got to peep game. They're just using us because, who else is desperate enough, and they're using their own people too, but they use us and other desperate people. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's a good distinction. I after you finish, I was going to say that sure, they've been brutal to themselves, but when there's one of us who enters into the room, they will turn and be most brutal to us. So yeah, I could definitely see where I could definitely see where there's this ideology that's supposed to harm the general masses, but because we're so susceptible to much of it, it harms us. It tends to find us, I find, the most. Before I get to my next panelist, let me read a couple of things from the chat. Trigger Happy 262 says, also, it doesn't make sense that people who were previously oppressed would have the same power dynamics of enslavers of plantations. He goes on to say, I think any Black communities should be analyzed from the point of said communities being incomplete in family structures, as opposed to the male or female being the head. Black families are occupied. He also gave condolences to Anthony, as we all did as well. Jose is here. saying what's up to everyone. He says they feed sentiments that are already present. That's a fact. Then make it look like it's the norm. After that, people actually think that they have to behave like that. Same goes for the music industry. Academia is big for that too. I talked about that a little while ago. Academia is good at listening to what a handful of college students is talking about, and then a few of those academics turn that into a wave, and they ride that wave for their own personal use too, and then it becomes a thing for everyone. Talawa Adodo, I think you might be new here. Sorry. Talawa says ideological diversity equals diversity in political confusion. He goes on to say socialist black people know more about Europe than themselves. That's their problem, right? With all of that said and heard, let's welcome in our boy Erzuli to the conversation. Erzuli, how are you this week?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Erzuli, mic is muted if you're talking.
I'm talking.
Oh, no, we can hear him.
I
I can hear him. Can you hear him?
No,
Yeah,
I can't.
I hear it.
Really?
No,
Yeah,
I
he's
can
like,
hear him. I can hear him.
I'm gonna say this. Only you pissed me off just now for your take, but I'm gonna go this. We just put something that said the stem. There was 3 videos of this where she's going in, where different people are trying to talk her out of a family unit. So first of all, in that season, the father of the children runs away because he's into debt. He's not a quality husband. He runs away because he plays the numbers a lot. So they were trying to kill him. So he runs away, leaves the family, doesn't tell the family where he's going. So the mother, after a couple of years, starts dating somebody, and then she files for divorce. Somehow he gets that she's going to file for divorce because she needs to divorce him so she could get married to the brother that you see there, the army brother in there. But throughout the season, it's a 13 season. It only lasted 1 season. Throughout that season, they're making fun of the father. They're showing you how he's not a husband, how he's not financially secure, and all of that. And the other brother, who's the military man, who's trying to marry her, is financially secure, but they make him like he's a dork. He's a dork. He's a nerd. He has no swag. He has no style. He's just a square. So, and there they're showing you that the woman is probably dating this guy, the square, for financial reasons, so she could be secure. When the father comes back, he has the swag, he's handsome, he has everything, but he doesn't have the responsibility, he's not accountable, even though he tries to apologize. So one of the previous videos that I sent, it's a woman from the other race who's trying to tell her to go take the job and do whatever you want to do, live your life. And then in this video, the mother is telling her, I see that somebody just said that before. I don't know if it wasn't on the chat, but her mother, if you listen to what she said, "Oh, mother, I thought you said you stayed there for the love of the children or whatever." And the mother said, "I didn't like it." And then she goes, "So why would I do that? I want to be happy." And at the end of the season, she doesn't marry either. She chooses to herself, her career, and all of that. So for somebody to say this is nothing, or this is just we didn't even know the show is of that or that, you don't know the show is. But that guy who plays the father was a good he was in Fathers and Son. Somebody said it. I forgot the show.
I'm on Sanford and Son, yeah.
Yeah, Sanford and Son. He was in there, so he was popular at the time. So I'm just saying that a lot of things that people think is for entertainment, it is not for entertainment. And one thing I'm gonna say is maybe the show did not take off because the women at the time were not fully sold on it. Maybe the women at the time were like, I see what you're saying. Yes, but nah, we're not doing that. So now, different to what Bowana said, like about let's use the color purple. I didn't watch the one that just came out, but the first one. Was there any black man that was righteous? I'm not saying some black men didn't do what Alice Walker claimed, but the majority didn't. Where is the black man in that book or in that movie that was like, nah, you're not doing this to my daughter. You're not doing this. Where was the juxtaposition between the good black brother and it's like everybody in that color purple, to me as a kid when I watched it, it seems like the brothers were mean. The brothers didn't like the women. The brothers were just straight mean. So this show right here, for us to say, oh, that was just a show, oh, it was nothing. What are we talking about? That young lady right now, if that show came out this era, that show would have been popular. It's granted maybe to the fact that the women at that time, even though they were having that difficulty with our brothers, they was like, we're not gonna be sold too much on that one. For people to say, oh, this is just bro. It says, baby, the name of the show is Baby I'm Back. If you go look at it, the father, handsome, swag, got the dress, he got everything. This brother, the one that was financially secure, a square, can't take certain jokes, have the weird ass jokes, all of that. But he was ready. You see how they made him bald? You think that's by accident? You see that they made him wear glasses? You think that's by accident? And her mother, even though she was the stay-at-home mother, even though she took her to the house, she had grudges against her husband. So that's what they put in that show. And what kills me is that a lot of people think this is entertainment. Oh, that's nothing. That was just a show. Nobody knew it. The reason maybe they didn't know it because the women at the time, and the kids loved their father. And that's the good thing about the show. The daughter, you couldn't turn the daughter against her father. That was one of the good things about it because I watched the episode. The son, he was a little bit mad at the father for leaving. But the daughter, that was to be fair in that show, the father couldn't do anything wrong in the daughter's eye. And then the son, when the father came out, because he's a boy, he 6 maybe 4 shows in, then he started warming up to the father. The daughter just warmed up automatically. But I'm just saying, for these shows, it's programming in these shows. Whether we want to say it's good or bad, it's not like, oh, these shows just a show. So if this show's only 13 seasons, if you have time, watch it on YouTube. It's for free. And this lady, the mother, was very, very hateful toward the father. Granted, maybe because the father ran away and stuff like that. Again, they wrote the character like that. They wrote the character for the father to be a deadbeat. Ran. Because his life was not proper. He was into the criminal underground world. Literally, he wasn't a killer or whatever, but he used to play the numbers. So we want to say, we want to act like, these things are just, but that show, that was in 1978. Let me see. Baby I'm Back. It was in 1978. 1977. It was on CBS. It's in 1978. So we say this. So, I mean, that's all I have to say, bro. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I do believe that that is propaganda. Someone has to mute their mic. I do believe propaganda in television, and I agree with you in that a lot of us just think it's entertainment. I remember listening to Griff one time. This is when that show was out with Juicy Smollett and them. I forget the name of it now, but when that show was out, Griff made a comment. He said, I forget, he was talking to someone, and the person was like, "Oh, you watch that show?" And he was like, "Yeah, I could afford to watch it because I have knowledge of self. I understand the game." And I think that's an important thing. Me personally, when I watch TV shows, especially with my own, with my children, I tend to sit down and point out the propaganda to the point now where they point it out to me now. And I think it's important that we do have what Trigger Happy would call this media analysis, where we look at these shows and we point out, you're being propagandized here. Is it specifically to Tony's point? Is it specifically to Black people? Perhaps not, but by now we should have the understanding that a lot of this propaganda does propagandize us, whether it's intended to only propagandize us or not. I want to shout out the folks who came in. And let me say something. I'm not gonna get into it directly, but y'all please cut down on the negativity, man. Cut down on the negativity, man. We come here every week to have a discussion. Let's have the discussion. Let people, speak on what they want to speak on, and we just deal with the conversation as is. Let's not be negative about what folks are saying. Shout out to the matron who's out there too. Shout out to Bakari who said peace and black power to everyone. And shout out to some of the new guys. It looks like Buana invited some new folks. Buana, you want to say something? Oh, it sounded like
I find it interesting. One of the things that are really can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I found it interesting. One of the things was Willie said just now. As a movie producer or as a movie maker, he would see these things and it would resonate to him immediately. Where I didn't catch it. He said that the military guy was bald. He said that you think that's by happenstance because Razuli makes movies. So he would know what is going to attract the attention of a certain viewer and what's not. Because if you look at the military guy is bald. So obviously the attraction level is going to fall for him. But the guy who was attractive is the guy who's a layabout. He's a do nothing. The Caribbeans call him waste man. He's a waste man. And if you think about it, in the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, Will Smith was attractive because he was cool and he was hip and all these other things. But Will Smith was the dumb character. The intelligent character was Carlton. But they made the Carlton the less cool person, the nerdy guy, the guy who liked to dance the white music in a weird way or whatever. But Carlton was an informed black man. He understood investments. He understood business. He understood many different things. But they want the female to be more attracted to the Will Smith. But the Will Smith was a stupid character. The Carlton Banks was the more intelligent one. See, the movie maker would know to put these kinds of things and leave out certain things. This is what happened behind the scenes of a movie, and this is how they send indirect messages and programming. This is how you condition the mind of people, and our women have been conditioned in a certain way. What is cool? The guy who gonna look good, who gonna wear a nice bed, who gonna smell nice or whatever. But that guy, ultimately at the end of the day, he has no job. He's not gonna pay off. He smokes weed. He lives on the side of the corner. He's a do nothing all. But the guy who does a myriad of different things to bring income into his family, the guy who is consistently there, how is he looked at in the media? He's the chump. He's the simp. So it's interesting how they send indirect messages to really break down the family, our family structure, because they give our black women tastes, what to chase after and what to reject. In the same way they do it to us too. I don't know how they do it with the women, but they definitely do it in terms of sending indirect messages to our women to say, well, you shouldn't be attracted to the hard working man who works all the time, who brings in income. He may be chubby, he may be bald, but that's just a thing of life. You're gonna get old, you're gonna lose your hair. It's like, yeah. Well, why wouldn't he be attractive anymore? But it's just interesting how they send indirect messages. And I think it's important our filmmakers point these things out. People like Razuli come on and show these things. Because I would have that small little detail is a very important feature. But I'll just leave it there and let the brothers go.
I'll just add to what Buana said. For the guys, they give us the what they call the video vixens, right? The light skins in the music videos and all that kind of stuff, right? They give us a certain body type, so that's how they push it on us. You see what I'm saying? Also, good point from a few of you in the chat about Carlton was not really in touch with everyday black folks. But the point that is a point, but that's a different point. I think the point being made is that within whatever it is we're in right now, the smart black man who was a square was put down constantly. Whereas a lot of people don't like the terminology, but Will Smith was kind of like a Pookie in a sense. He was elevated, right? He was out in Philly carrying on like the fool, and he was shipped out there, this, that, and the other. So while I understand your point about Carlton is not really representative of an African man, I get it. But within that reality, what really it wasn't so much about him not being an African man. It was about, here's a sensible, intelligent brother, but we're gonna shit on him at every go. Whereas the slacker is the one who pulls the chicks and all that kind of thing. We have to be very we have to be very aware of these things, man, and how that translates to a lot of people. Yeah.
My thing
Make
is,
it quick because I have someone else.
Go ahead. I'll go back after the person. Go ahead.
All right, let's welcome in Jose.
Yes, I came in. I came in after that comment because let me apologize because it was not me, and only before we had some some friction, but it was not intended that way. It was really aimed at the view that Americans have of socialism. So it was not personally, but let me tell my story, right? So I already typed some of it in the comments, but the movie The Color Purple was turned my family upside down, like the three sisters, like my mother and her two sisters, they changed. They it was like that movie gave them a stick to actually do what I think is behind. It's completely the opposite of socialism. I think capitalism is behind it. We are all about the same age, right? We are mid-50s, right? Well, the majority of us are mid-50s, right? And so when I was about 11, 12, that's when that movie came out, right? And I saw something. Nowadays it's LGBTQ that is being pushed to youngsters, and back then it was divorce that was being pushed to youngsters. And in that age. At that age, I already had the thought, hey, wait a minute, there's a force behind it. They are selling, they are selling 2 couches, 2 living rooms with everything that a living room needs when people divorce. The parents compete for the love of the children by bombarding them with toys and shit. So very young. Maybe extremely young, I realized that it was commerce that was behind it, and that's my explanation of my reaction in the chat. So yeah, it may come over negative, but that was the sentiment behind that you must have been reading American books, shaking my head. So I hope my apology and my explanation uh, is yeah, that's it.
Appreciate that, Jose, and thanks for coming through. Does anyone else want to add any further thoughts? I know Zuli wanted to add something. You could go ahead now, and then whoever wants to add after Zuli's done, go ahead and add.
Oh wait,
I'm-
wait. About. Sorry. About us. I think it stuck with us because we have no power. This bomb, this how did this waste man. Yeah, I think because of this image of this waste man, this man with no power. I think with us it stuck. So it was not aimed at us. It was everybody has to divorce and have two households, so we can sell double the households, right. But I think it only stuck with us, but it was not aimed at us. Everybody was supposed to divorce. That was it. Sorry, I forgot to add that, and that's it. Thanks.
I want to say this. Where I see what Bowana is talking, I'm going to say something different. I understand what Bowana is saying with the Will Smith character. Will Smith character, I don't disagree, was a pookie. He was misguided, but when he came in and he got into the right um, neighborhood or right uncle, the Will Smith character thrived. He went to college. He did all of that. But my thing is, why can't the Will Smith character or be smart like Carlton? Why does Carlton have to be swagless? It's done for that to make women pushed away from guys like that, even though they have all the qualities. So Carlton, whether and even in the show, Carlton was smart, but Carlton wasn't. I think Carlton was book smart. I don't think Carlton was street smart or common sense wise. So I understand what Boana is talking, but is saying. But at the end of the day, we should look at it. Why did the writers do that? Why did the writers make Will Smith? Why couldn't Carlton have been a square from the hood who moved in with Uncle Phil? And let's say Will Smith was the kid who had swag and was smart and doing all of that. And and another thing I wanted to say is that this, I don't know if people saw that TV show. It's called The Changeling. It was on Apple TV, where this brother is dating the sister. The sister goes to Brazil. She meets with like a witch woman, and the witch woman ties a red thing in her wrist and tells her, "Do not cut this until your 3 wishes come true." She goes back home, reunite with the ex-boyfriend. He cuts the string, and everything starts going to shit. So it's just like, I understand what people are saying, but you just got to pay attention to some of those things and stuff like that, to be aware of, like, when you're watching TV or whatever. It's like, even like that. What's that song by Neo? Oh, I love her because Miss Independent, she pays for her own thing. Now we met at women.
It's called She's Got Her Own Thing.
For doing exactly what the song, they put that song out. She's Miss Independent, she pays for her own stuff, she does this, she does that, she don't need my money. So now when the sisters are saying, I don't need y'all, I make my money, now you're mad. But everybody, including men, whoa, this song is dope. And again, that song was not put there for just enjoyment. They did that on purpose.
Who is they? Who is they? The singers? They wrote the song on purpose to break the family?
The singers don't know shit. They just puppets. That song could have been number 15 on Neo's album, but that song was pushed to the top of the charts, was played over and over and over and over again. And I'm not saying that And then I'm not saying I don't like a woman who has her own thing. We're not saying that. But that comes with, oh, I don't need a man. What you there for?
Can I say something?
Go ahead, bro.
Only we believe that whites have this type of power, man. They do everything. They do everything. What do we do?
Bro,
I agree with Jose a little bit because I think that's a bit of a stretch. I think I think more women, if you take a poll, I think more women love that song than men that love R&B that love that song. But to say that it was put there to have a divide there, it was already unfortunately a divide between the sexes among the black community. I mean, you got the Manosphere, you had Kevin Samuels, you
that
had
song was
black.
there before the Manosphere, bro. That song was there before the Manosphere, before Kevin Samuel.
No,
You misunderstand it? And we're not. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying that the song was the one that did that. But I'm saying it fueled it. While we were dancing, while we was happy, drinking, and loving that song, putting it on the top of the chart. That's what it was entering our system, our mind. Whether you want to
okay.
say it or not, that's all I'm saying.
Okay, I have a background in music marketing, and surprise, fellas, it's women that buy music. Even all this that ratchet shit and that how do they call it? What they blame rappers for doing? It's women that buy that shit. It's women that buy that
Who
gangster
wrote
shit.
it though? Who's singing it? It's a man that's singing it. He put it out there to make money off women.
Exactly. So it's marketing. It's just marketing.
But that's what I'm trying to say, Jose. I'm just saying that that music is not there just for the sake of it by itself. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that music is not just, oh, let's put what happened to song like R&B right now is like a gender war, just like hip hop. I'm just saying that a lot of time, what I'm trying to say is music that we love, that we got sensitive, that we got attached emotionally with. It was not just for the emo. There was something behind it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, do we remember Jax? That guy that was always talking black men down, and eventually he was caught cheating on his wife. Do we remember that?
Yeah.
He was also cashing. He was also cashing on women, selling books and t-shirts and whatever that he did. So it's marketing, women follow, the louder they say they are independent, the more men they have followed that sold that type of crap. Yeah.
Let's officially welcome in the brother Kofi. He spoke before, but I didn't realize who was talking. Kofi, how are you this week? Thanks for coming through.
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I was invited, but I'm sorry. My brother on the panel. I just had a live, and we had a good discussion, and he invited me on here, and I pretty like what I'm hearing. So, a little bit about me. I have my own YouTube channel, Kofi the Black Critic. Um, I'm Guyanese. I'm Guyanese American. I bumped into Jose before. He was on so-called Pan-Africanism Strikes Back, and on Dinus and stuff like that. So, it's a little bit of familiar faces here. One, I do agree with what you're saying, and having family that goes in the military and traveling. Um, we have to understand that things put in media is not done by accident. There's a purpose for it. There's an absolute reason and purpose for it. There are people, believe it or not, in this world or wherever you're from in the United States that have never seen a black person. Never seen a black person. And they think that black people, I heard a lot of people that go overseas, especially in Germany, places like that, think that black men have tails. They think that black people are just inherently violent and dysfunctional. And it's like, wait, if you never met a black person before, why are you saying this? Oh, TV. You're like, what? So there's a saying that art depicts reality. So, movies, cinema, things like that, they consider that art. Yeah. Art depicts reality. So we may see it as, oh, that's entertainment. That's just entertainment. right? Other people see it as no, that's who you are and what you are. So we have to be very responsible. You never see anything very negative about Jewish people. You'll never on TV. You'll never see anything really negative about Hispanic people to a degree where they put a lot of negative images about Black people. And that's one thing I about our people that I really don't like is that we let a lot of it go away because, as our brothers say, oh, it's just entertainment. No, it is not. If it's just entertainment, why are we always got to be the butt of the joke when it's entertainment? Why you don't see that about certain segments of other? You can't say that about Jewish people. Jewish people are white. You think you could say something about Jewish people being misers and no, you get canceled. You get canceled right away. So sorry not to be long-winded, but again, I agree with it, and we as a people have to be a lot more responsible for our image, for our images, no matter who we are or where we're from, because the whole world look at us as we're the same. If we're a continental African or Black American or someone from the Caribbean, such as myself, it's a stain on us all. So I'll give the panel back to you guys.
Appreciate that, Kofi. I want to shout out Cheryl as well. I haven't seen your name here before, but thanks for coming through and thanks for participating so much in the chat. Really appreciate you being here. If there's no last words on that topic, because we've been on it for a while, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 2. Again, thanks to everyone who came out tonight, as usual. Thanks to all of you in the chat. Thanks to all of you on the panel. You guys who are on the panel, stick around so that we can have a good conversation tonight. Shoot the Breeze topic